Thank you very much. I'm delighted to speak on this jobs initiative. It's one of the first pieces of good news that we've had in this House in relation to jobs for quite some time. During the election campaign, I came across at first hand the consequences that unemployment is having on our country. In my county of Meath, there are now almost 12,000 people without work, and coupled with that, of course, are the many who have emigrated to find work elsewhere, and those who have just not registered as unemployed in the first place. And each of these people represents a loss of potential to the country, but also a loss of potential to themselves, and we need to get them back to work. My own background is in business. In the early 1990s, I set up my own small business, and I learned that it's vital that we provide a very good business environment for SMEs to survive. 90% of businesses in Meath are SMEs who employ fewer than 9 people. They're not global brands, they're family-run local businesses. And in Meath, over half of the workforce works for companies like these. And if we're to get out of this recession, we need to make sure that these companies can create new jobs. We need to make sure that new companies can set up and create new jobs. And therefore, it's important that what we do is to stimulate an enterprise-friendly climate. And here in the Jobs Initiative that was published this week are policies such as a reform of the PRSI system, such as a programme for graduate internships, and targeted sectoral initiatives that will help to create a positive business environment. I know this because there are many measures in the Jobs Initiative that were suggested to us by small businesses. Before the election, I held a series of seminars across County Meath with business people from various sectors, including green energy, arts and crafts, artisan food and tourism. And at these seminars, I asked business people to come forward and tell us and highlight the obstacles and the problems that they were facing in running their businesses, and to suggest some solutions and improvements. And suggestions that came forward included some very easy to introduce solutions, such as making it easier to get planning permission to erect signs on rural businesses. Many rural businesses find it hard to generate business because people just can't find them. But there are other suggestions as well, and at every single one of the seminars, what was raised though was one particular issue, and that was access to credit. So the announcement in the Jobs Initiative that we'll see a partial credit scheme will certainly allow some businesses to expand their operations. For instance, many business people told me that they're very positive about further growth in the export market. The US, the UK and other EU countries are all set to see significant economic growth over the coming years, and so too are other countries. And if you take, for example, the BRICS countries, Brazil, the growth there is estimated to be 4% this year, Russia is 4.5%, India is 9%, China is 9%, and South Africa is 6%. And these countries represent 40% of the world's population and 15% of the world's economy. And each of those countries has a growing middle class with a growing amount of discretionary spending power. And there's ample opportunity for Ireland to come up with a marketing strategy to ensure that we can sell our products there, not just from small businesses, but from medium and larger Irish firms as well in these countries. We have embassies there, we have consulates there, and they've all got very, very good links in the local economies. I know that recently the Minister for Foreign Affairs called in our ambassadors from EU embassies. Can I suggest that he also calls in other ambassadors from BRICS countries and get the message out there that Ireland needs jobs, and Ireland is also open for tourism from these countries. And on that note, the creation of a tourism VAT rate of 9% I think is very positive news. I think it'll lead to additional tourists coming to these shores from our traditional markets, but also from newer markets as well. And restaurants, hotels, travel companies can all expect to benefit as a result, and I have no doubt that measure alone will lead to many thousands of jobs. We're realistic about this Jobs Initiative. We know that the measures suggested will only go so far. This is certainly not the end of the story as far as we're concerned. We see this as just the beginning of a process to get this country back to work.